Once upon a time, in the beautiful city of Abuja, there lived a handsome, wealthy accountant, Uche. Uche lived in one of the most finest houses and drive the most luxurious car. Uche is a very handsome man. Women flocked around him like fly. But Uche had his kind of women. For Uche, his woman had to be thick, chubby, curvy, and pretty. Uche never had a thing for slender girls. He always referred to them as broomstick. Whenever Uche hung out with his friends, Jackson and Toby, if the question of his choice of a woman was brought up, he had a unique reply. I can't do slender girls. There's nothing to lean on, nothing to touch. When you want to cuddle or feel something, all you get to feel is nothing but their bones. No, I can't, please. So, with this, Jackson and Toby reduced the way they brought up the topic concerning his choices of women. In a world where slender, tiny waist, and size 8 women were seen as model and beauty, Jackson could not understand Uche's decision towards women. Uche was a conk womanizer as he felt he could get whatever he wanted. He was rich, successful, and handsome, so he was always the center of attraction wherever he found himself. When Uche turned 35, and it clicked to him that he was getting older. So he thought it was time for him to settle down, time to make a man out of himself. But when Uche introduced his girlfriend Vivian to his parents, they bluntly rejected her. Uche's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Ekene, rich, successful, well respected in the society, they were referred to a no nonsense kind of people. They weren't the people to hide how they felt about something. So that Saturday afternoon, Uche took his beautiful, chubby girlfriend, Vivian, to introduce to his parents. After they had shared lunch, while discussing, Uche could see disapproval in his mother's face already. And he knew if he was ever going to get married to Vivian, it was going to be a war. When they were done for the day, Mrs. Ekene asked her driver to please take Vivian home as she would like to have a word with her son. To which Vivian thanked her for her hospitality and left. After Vivian had left the building, Mrs. Ekene quickly turned to her son and said, if this is a joke, you must stop it at once. What do you mean you want to get married to that chubby lady? Here. Uche, you can't. Not even in my dreams. And Uche asked his mother, why can't I? She's my spec and everything I want in a woman. His mother laughed and said, for now, that's what you think. What happens when she takes in, give birth and become double her current size? Will she still be your spec? The body of a woman and that of a man aren't the same. Childbirth takes a woman's body on a whole different ride, which I'm not sure you're going to understand now. For me, you can't get married to her. You have to look for someone that looks younger so that much later in life, your wife doesn't look older than you are. This is my final decision, and I'm not asking of your opinion or anything. Uche was looking at his mother, short of words. This is his own decision, his type of woman. How can his mother ask him not to get married to her and not even willing to listen to his own opinion? That's bad. But Uche couldn't do anything as Uche was the only son and was living out of his parents' wealth. All he owned and have ever earned was because of his parents. So Uche closed his mouth and went back home that day. When Uche got home, he felt down. He held a bottle of whiskey. He drank it for a long time, thinking to himself, I thought introducing Vivian to my parents was going to make them feel excited as how I have finally decided to settle down and pick a wife. But this was the exact opposite. While Uche sat down in his living room, sipping a glass of whiskey, he questioned what his mother had told him and found reasons with her. Tobe, his friend, who got married 2 years ago, he got married to a very slim, his wife was a size 6, as his wife was very, very slim. And at that time was a model. But after the birth of the twin boy, she's almost a size 14. Uche then tapped his legs and said, it might just be true. Oh. I can get married to a slim lady, get her pregnant immediately, and after marriage and after childbirth, she'll probably become the chubby girl of my dreams. I think mom is right. Rather than getting married to a chubby girl and after giving birth she becomes obese, I think I'm going to follow mom's decision. But what if she doesn't get chubby? Me, I know I want chubby. Oh. On a long run, if she doesn't get chubby, I'll be forced to go out. I don't like something slim. Oh. Sha, I won't want to draw into conclusion. Let me ask Jackson and Toby and hear what they have to say. So Uche went to bed with the thought in his mind how to break up with Vivian and how to look for a slim person he could like for the meantime. With this, Uche met his friends the next day, being Sunday. While they were drinking and discussing, Uche asked them, does every lady add after childbirth? And Jackson said yes. 90% of ladies do. Can't you see my wife? Didn't she add? Tobe's wife also added though. She just recently started working out. Tobe then asked Uche, why ask this question? Are you considering what my head is telling me? Uche then asked him, what is your head telling you? So Tobe told him, you want to get married to a slim lady since she will still get fat after marriage and after childbirth. Uche laughed and said, something like that, Sha. My parents said no to Vivian, no, insisting that every lady was going to add after childbirth. His friends then told him, yes, so you can ask your wife to remain chubby after she puts to bed and love her the way she is, since you love chubby and you say chubby is your food. Uche was so excited. At least he wasn't losing in any way. Even if he gets married to a slim lady, childbirth was always going to push her towards becoming chubby. He was so glad about what he and his friends had discussed. He wasn't feeling intimidated with what his mother had told him. For now, he was so comfortable as whoever he gets married to will certainly have to eat enough food so that she can add after childbirth. But Uche refused breaking up with Vivian. He kept on visiting her frequently, making Vivian feel like they were a team and something was going to come out of their relationship. He never told Vivian anything about what his parent had said that day. Whenever she brought it up, he was going to quickly sweep it under the carpet and ask her if her allowances had finished or something else, but never ever accepting to share the conversation he had with his parents. One day, while Uche was in his office working on some accounts, a beautiful fair lady named Cassie walked into the office regarding her account. What dragged Uche's attention was a beautiful body curve. Cassie is a beautiful lady with a nice body curve. While she was standing and asking Uche series of questions, Uche was thinking of how she was going to add after marriage and how her curves were going to become more pronounced. But he quickly snapped back to reality. After he helped solve the issue for Cassie, Uche asked if they could exchange the number, to which Cassie accepted. And over a few weeks, Uche called Cassie non-stop, always checking up on her, sending her beautiful gifts, talking her to sleep, sending flowers, even when it wasn't her birthday. Cassie, a beautiful lady who was an artist but not popularly known as she was an upcoming artist, was so excited. As deep down, she had always prayed and longed for a man that was going to love her genuinely. Cassie isn't from a rich home, but her father tried to always provide for his family, teaching them that whatsoever life gives to you, you have to get something out of it. Do not ever give up. It is better you keep fighting for each day. With this, his children always strive to become better. Few months down the line, Uche and Cassie got married. They were both excited. Cassie was excited to be getting married to a nice man who she felt genuinely loved her. Uche was excited as he couldn't wait to get her pregnant immediately. And with this in mind, he always made love to his wife every day after work, as he couldn't wait for her to get pregnant and gain weight. He also got whatsoever Cassie demanded for. He thought to himself, aside the hormones getting her fat, I need to feed her enough so as to make her gain weight. To Cassie, her husband was deeply in love with her, having to gift her whatsoever she wanted, having to always run to her every night was a great gift to her. And whenever she hung out with her friends, she was so boastful of how her husband put her as a priority. Her husband always placed whatsoever she wanted first before anything. Her friends were so envious of her and always told her she had a beautiful marriage and a beautiful home. As Uche planned, 3 months after their marriage, Uche came back from work and Cassie broke the good news while they were having dinner. Uche was so excited. In his mind, it wasn't about the pregnancy. It was about the weight she was going to accumulate over time. With this in mind, whatsoever Cassie was craving, Uche brought double home as he couldn't wait for his wife to gain weight. Unlike every other lady, Cassie didn't add one bit during pregnancy, but instead lost so many weight as she was always falling ill. Uche wasn't happy about it. But when he spoke to his friends, they assured him that the weight was going to certainly come. Since it didn't come while she was pregnant, it was going to surely come when she starts breastfeeding. They told him that women tend to eat double when it comes to breastfeeding, as they had to eat enough so as to breastfeed their child. So Uche refused giving up and continued pampering Cassie. But soon after Cassie gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, Cassie didn't add one bit. Uche was always buying her large portion of food. But even after clearing everything in the plates, Cassie remained her size. And over a period of time, Uche kept on buying her large portion of food, the biggest size of pizza, bucket ice cream, so many things, all to make her gain weight. Even when Cassie ate the portion her body could control for that moment, Cassie did not gain anything. At this point, Uche started giving up in the process. And he told himself, Did I get married to the 10% that will never add? After everything I've done, how come she's not even adding one single weight, Kwano? I'm giving up on this process. So, Uche gradually crawled back to the arms of Vivian as he had already lost interest totally in Cassie. Yes, she was curvy, but not as chubby as he wanted. This wasn't his plan all along. His plan was to get her fat so that he could remain with her. But now, she did not even gain one single weight. So he wasn't comfortable with it anymore. So, Uche always came back home late. And whenever Cassie asked him what the matter was, he always smiled and told her nothing was wrong. He just had a lot of things to do in the office. Cassie would accept and serve him dinner and went straight to bed. But as time went on, Cassie soon became disturbed as Uche hardly touched her. It was over 5 months and Uche hasn't laid with her. She was confused at this point. Was this also part of work stress? Even on Sunday, when Uche was supposed to spend time with them at home, Uche always claimed he had something to do in his office, running out like a speed of light immediately they returned from church. This wasn't the marriage she wanted. Cassie started praying fervently, fasting and burning midnight candles, praying for the safety of her husband, praying that whatsoever was holding him back should free him, hoping that her husband was going to come back to who he really was. So one day, Uche forgot his phone on the bed. Unlike him, he always took his phone everywhere, even to the restroom. While Cassie was arranging the bed, a message dropped, and when she looked at it, it was a message from Vivian, and it stated that she was waiting for him to do his magic. She also sent him a picture of her on beautiful skimpy nightie. Cassie was so upset. At this point, Cassie made up her mind never to pray again. Instead, she was going to deal with him. Cassie had not even resumed work after her child was born. So she decided to continue drawing and painting in her home, knowing fully well that her husband was cheating on her, and that was the reason why he wasn't paying attention to what was happening in the home. Cassie told herself that she wasn't going to give up on herself, but focus on herself, make herself more appealing to men outside so that her husband will realize the mistake he had done. So Cassie focused on herself, though she planned to give her husband a dose of his own treatment. As days went by, Cassie met a tech person and asked how she could clone her husband's phone. After paying a huge sum of money for that, Cassie cloned Uche's phone, giving her full access to his phone. So Cassie knew where Uche was at every minute. She just wanted to be able to penetrate and know who Vivian really was. Cassie started planning on how to track him one day and deal with him. But unknown to her, that wasn't going to be an easy process. One day, when Uche had visited Vivian and was returning home, some group of boys stopped him and tried talking to him. But Uche was proving stubborn as he felt that he could find his way around everything. But they quickly punched him in his face and carried him to an uncompleted building. When they got to the uncompleted building, they tied him to a very big pillar and showed him a video of where he and Vivian were making out. After they had showed him that video, they asked him to transfer a very huge sum of money to a particular account, to which Uche did. And they threatened him that if he ever reports to the police, his video was going to be out for the world to see. To Uche, he felt that after the transfer, everything was okay. But the group of boys, while pretending that they were leaving, they quickly turned and began to beat him. They beat Uche mercilessly. They beat Uche blue-black. When they were done, they tossed him in front of his gate. The next morning, when Cassie was heading out for school runs, she found him in front of the gate, almost lifeless. She quickly rushed him to the clinic. Uche spent a total of 3 months in the clinic, with Cassie being totally stressed, as she had to always drop her son at school and remain with him in the clinic. It wasn't an easy ride for Cassie. She kept on questioning who would have done this to her husband, as her husband wasn't someone to have enemy. But after Uche had recovered, it was like he had a brain reset, as he never went out again. All he did was go to work and spend time with his beautiful wife, Cassie. He virtually fell in love totally with his wife, regretting all he had ever done to her. He kept on apologizing for neglecting her. This made Cassie surprised, though she was 100% grateful. But she kept on asking herself who would have done this to her husband, as she had never told anyone and was still in the process of executing her own plans. Unknown to both Cassie and Uche, the group of thugs that had attacked Uche was planned by Vivian. As one day, Vivian asked Uche what she was to him, and Uche told her, "You know I'm married. You're just my baby girl now, the one I will come to always rest my head on." So with this, Vivian felt insulted. She had been waiting for Uche all along, and now Uche had reduced her to a side chick. Vivian was so pained, and she planned to beat him and also steal lots of money from him. So she organized a group of thugs and paid them to attack Uche. Cassie was so grateful, as she felt God came through for her, even without her having to do anything. Her home had returned to how it's supposed to be. Her husband, who thought in his head that he loved Chubby, soon stopped loving Chubby, as all he wanted to do was to pay attention to his family and his son. We've come to the end of the story, and I would like you to share your thoughts on this one. Do you think it was the fault of Uche's parents if they had allowed him to get married to Vivian? Probably he wouldn't have gone out chasing after Vivian after he had gotten married to a beautiful lady, Cassie. Or do you think it's Uche's fault, as he's a grown man and was able to make his decision for himself? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. It's your favorite storyteller, Zika. Please do not forget to support your home girl by subscribing, liking, turning on the notification bell, sharing our stories to your loved ones. Till we meet again in our next. Bye for now.